Tim Cook was not kidding when he said WWDC 2017 is the biggest WWDC to ever go down. Or at least something like that. I'm just paraphrasing. The point is, today's keynote was huge. About 2.5 hours long. That's insane. Let's talk. Hello guys, how are you? David Franco here. DavidFranco.com, as well as the FrancoUniversity.com/forum. Now, I put a heavy emphasis on that URL because I'm not going to talk your heads off too much today because, one, I feel like crap. I'm extremely lightheaded. Sinuses are all blocked up. I have a cold, blah, blah, blah. You don't need all those details. But I'm just letting you know because I'm doing this video for you guys. I make content for you, as well as myself, obviously, because I love doing videos, but I would much rather just be relaxing right now. Let's just say that. But I have a lot to say, and I'm going to do my best to go through this as fast as possible. Look at this. 1, 2.5 pages. And look, my new printer prints double-sided. Isn't that fancy? Anyway, go to thefrancouniversity.com/forum to ask questions about anything that went down in today's keynote. I say that because I want to make videos, more detailed videos rather, about things like the Imac Pro, iOS 11, HomePod mother... I'm sorry, does anyone else think like, yo bruh? Anyway, point is, ask your questions right below and I'll feature you in future videos if I choose your question. Okay, so let's do this. I'm not going to go through every single thing. I'm just going to talk about things from WWDC 2017 that I thought stood out the most. tvOS is finally getting Amazon Prime Video support in the fall. Finally. Yes, you could always AirPlay, but official support is always nice. After all, I like when things work natively. I hate having to find workarounds. watchOS 4 looks like a pretty solid update. Honestly, I'm very happy with my Apple Watch. I mean, I wouldn't mind another hardware update in terms of like a radically new design, but in regards to software, it works exactly as it should, but the fact that it's going to get even better, that's fine with me. We're going to get a new Siri watch face, which looks pretty nice, and it's going to predict your commute time, your reminders, memories, basically what you get on the new iOS lock screen, and by new I mean iOS 10 on your iPhone, but now on your Apple Watch. And that's cool. You get a new kaleidoscope watch face based on your photos, so that should be pretty neat. Animated Toy Story characters, so think like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, but instead I think it's Woody, Jesse, and Buzz Lightyear. That should be pretty cool. And finally, with watchOS 4, the Apple Watch will work with gym equipment. Alright, so this means specific like treadmills and whatever will actually import your data, like your calories, your heart rate, all that stuff, and feed it back and forth, thus improving your workout experience. Now, I don't work out, as you can see, a little man titties right here, but yeah, this is definitely a big deal. I can easily recognize where the Apple Watch is going. It's all about fitness. So Apple, props to you, keep it up. Okay, macOS. Hi Sierra. Not the best name, but think like lion, mountain lion, leopard, snow leopard. Now we have Sierra. Hi Sierra. Hello horse. So it's basically an improved version of Sierra with some new features here and there, including blocking autoplay on videos. How many times have you gone to a website, especially news websites, which I hate, and videos just start autoplaying? That's like the '1 thing you should never do in web design, is never, ever have videos autoplay. Unless it's like Vimeo or YouTube or whatever. Those sites are based around videos. They're built around video playback. But when you go to a website like CNN or whatever and it autoplays video, what the hell are you thinking? So Apple, awesome. Alright, so you get new editing controls in the Photos app on macOS High Sierra, including curves and selective control, which is always good. Apple file system support is coming to macOS as defaults, so it's fully 64-bit, it has crash protection, it's ultra responsive, it instantly copies files, which makes a huge difference. And they actually showed a demo on video where you would copy like 5 or 6 videos and it would take a few seconds, but with the new Apple file system, is that what they're calling it? Yeah. It instantly does it, like instantaneously, which I think is great. And yes, I'm looking down at notes. I'm not feeling professional today at all. I've never claimed to be a professional. Just not feeling it. Again, I'm doing this for you. I just want to go rest. So yeah, bada bing, bada boom, good. H.265 support is great. We're going to get support for 4K video, HDR video. Metal 2 support is coming for external GPUs, which is a big deal, as well as VR on the Mac. Apple actually put a lot of time and effort into saying, hey, look, we're taking VR pretty damn seriously. So between VR Kit and Metal 2, Apple is going all in with VR. And I'm actually surprised to say that because I thought they were all about AR, which they are, I'll talk about that later. But the fact that they're putting so much time and attention into virtual reality, it's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal, especially considering today's updates to the iMac. Speaking of, new iMac, new display, 500 nits, 43% brighter, 10-bit dithering, and 1 billion colors on that display. More colors. It's good, right? Of course. Faster CPUs, yes, Kaby Lake CPUs are finally here. I know a lot of users have been waiting for that. The 27-inch iMac supports up to 64 gigs of RAM now. That's a lot of memory. But not only that, the SSDs are now up to 50% faster, and they support up to 2 terabytes of storage. 2 terabytes of storage on an SSD. Awesome. We have definitely come a long way. I'm not sure about that price though. It's gonna be pretty expensive, just to warn you, but hey, 2 terabytes, I'm okay with that. And you can now get up to 8 gigabytes of VRAM on the 27-inch model. MacBooks have been updated. They support Kaby Lake CPUs. Yay, iMac Pro, it's real. I'm gonna talk about the iMac Pro like in detail in future videos. So if you want like a guaranteed shout out, again, go to francouniversity.com/forum and simply ask how I feel about the iMac Pro, and I'll talk about that. I will feature your question. So do it. Anyway, the new iMac Pro has an 8-core Xeon CPU, but it supports up to an 18-core Xeon CPU. That's insane. This is a truly professional grade iMac. So this is a huge, huge improvement for the iMac in general. It has Radeon Vega graphics up to 12 gigs, up to 128 gigs of memory. And of course, the iMac Pro has a heavy emphasis on VR support, high frame rate, immersive VR. It's all there, available in December, starting at $499.9. I'm not feeling today's video. I'm not. So let's just keep going. I love Apple, but today's video sucks. It really does. I'm not gonna pretend to be happy. I don't know what my deal is today. I just need rest. Anyway, iOS 11, Apple Pay support for peer-to-peer. Yay, that should be nice. Siri's new voice actually sounds really good. The new camera software supports HEIF compression. This means up to 2 times better compression. In other words, half the file size, improved quality. Live Photo supports Key Photo. Editing, creating a loop or bounce. Control center is completely redesigned. Looks nice. Maps has floor plan support for malls and airports. That's actually really cool. I've been wanting something like that for a while for places like Target and Walmart, so hopefully we'll get that one day. Do not disturb while driving. Apple, thank you. I've wanted something like this for a while. So basically, your iPhone will now automatically react to when you're driving. In other words, you're not going to get notifications from things like Tinder and text messages. I mean, unless you have CarPlay that supports certain apps like texting. But no, Apple wants you to focus on the road, and that's exactly what you should do. You don't need to be reading things from Tinder or Facebook while driving. No, you don't. And don't tell me you do, because you don't. Apple Music now allows you to see what your friends are listening to, which I'm actually quite excited about, so that should be pretty cool. And the App Store, for the first time in 9 years, has been completely redesigned. It looks like Apple Music and Apple News, boom, had a baby. So I'm looking forward to using that. It actually does look really nice. Augmented Reality. Hello AR Kit, you are official. It actually looks really neat. They did a real-time demo where they like unrolled this digital cloth and like this battle unfolded in front of us, literally unfolded in front of us. It was really, really neat technology. Now AR is nothing new, but the fact that Apple is putting so much focus on it, that's a big deal moving forward. So between AR and VR, Apple's obviously willing to think outside the box. I mean, they're not all about just like creating stuff on your computer or designing things in GarageBand and Photoshop or whatever. Like, they're interested in taking those experiences and making them real. And by real, I mean augmented reality and virtual reality. They're not actually real, but you guys know what I mean. The new iPad Pro officially replaces the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, so now we have a 10.5-inch iPad Pro, which I actually might get. It looks really nice. Alright, so it features a 20% larger display. It weighs just 1 pound. Full-size on-screen keyboard. True Tone display, which I've always loved about the 9.7-inch iPad Pro. 600 nits brightness. HDR video. I'm on board with that. ProMotion. The first iPad Pro to ever display video at a 120 Hz refresh rate. So normally we see 60 Hz. Think double that. 120 Hz. That I am extremely interested in seeing myself. And that's actually one of the top features I want out of the new iPad Pro. So that says a lot. And yes, this does mean even more fluid Apple Pencil support. Now, does this require a new Apple Pencil? I don't think so. I mean, the fact that it can use the current Apple Pencil and be faster, that's a big deal. But I could be wrong. I have a lot of research to do. I kind of came straight from the keynote, printed out my notes, and here I am. Alright, so the new iPad Pro has an A10X CPU, which is a 6-core CPU, 12-core GPU, 30% faster than the A9X, 10-hour battery life. The rear camera is pretty much the same camera from the iPhone 7. It captures 4K video. And the FaceTime camera, which is the front-facing camera, is 7 megapixels. Cool? Where did I leave off? Okay, anyway. iOS 11. This is the most unprofessional video I've ever created. I'm sorry, guys. Please don't hate me. iOS 11 for iPad actually looks really, really nice. This is one of my favorite announcements from today. We have a new dock. So think like a Mac OS dock, but on your iPad, and it could be much bigger than your current iPad Pro dock, which is a huge deal. New app switcher shows so much more information on screen. I'll talk about that more in detail in future videos. You can now drag and drop things in the whole split view, multitasking views, like drag images, drag links, bada boom. It's a drag fest, as they said on stage. You gotta watch the keynote for yourself to understand. The new Files app, you can finally explore files from multiple apps and services all within one Files app. This is a big deal because it's making the iPad Pro actually feel like a computer rather than like a watered down computer but in an iPad form factor. The iPad Pro has always been a computer, but people have different definitions of a computer. I mean, if you can create something on an iPad, then yeah, it's a computer. But as of today, with the iPad Pro and iOS 11 in the fall, yes, it's going to become more and more like a computer the more we move forward. So that looks really nice. We have very deep Apple Pencil support, which makes me quite happy. We have full support for markup, searchable handwriting, which could be huge. Notes has built-in document scanning. You can take screenshots and do markup. You can scan your notes using the onboard camera, so no longer do you have to use a third-party app just to scan contracts or whatever, which I actually do frequently here and there, and I hate having to do that. I do. I hate scanning using third-party apps. So the fact that it's now built into Apple Notes, thank you. That's a big deal. It is. And finally, the HomePod. Yeah, it's not a great name, but let's not forget how many people made fun of the name iPad. Nowadays, it sounds normal AF, doesn't it? iPad. Nobody makes fun of the name iPad. At least I don't. Anyone with half a brain doesn't. But yeah, HomePod, not the best name, but I see what they're doing. AirPods, HomePod. It's meant to be in your home. It's a speaker. It makes sense. It really does. It may not be the best name, but it makes sense. Anyway, the HomePod actually seems pretty nice from a spec perspective. It's 7 inches tall, so it's not that big. It has 7 tweeters, a 4-inch woofer. That sounds good to me. And it uses an A8 chip. It has multi-channel echo cancellation, real-time acoustic modeling. It's spatial aware, which means it's going to play the best possible audio experience based on the environment. I think Alexa kind of does that right now, but maybe not to that extent. So yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in that. And get this, you can pair two HomePods together for the ultimate experience. It's going to be a little expensive. More on that in a second. And of course, it does support Siri. Now, I've said in the past that I'm a huge fan of Alexa. In other words, the Amazon Echo. I use it every single day when I'm in my kitchen, like making dinner or whatever. Or even when I leave, I'll say, Alexa, play classic rock. And I'll just have her play music from Maui. Or I don't know, I just like knowing I have music playing in my house when I'm not here. Does that make me weird? I'm sure somebody else out there does that. Anyway, the point is, Alexa is extremely, extremely useful. But so is Siri. Siri is extremely useful, but not extremely reliable. So, if Siri can be reliable and useful in a speaker that sounds, in theory, much better than the Echo, sign me up. The only catch, it's not coming out until December. Jesus, that's a long time away. And it's going to sell for $349. Which I don't think is too crazy. A lot of people are saying that price is insane. Yeah, it's a little expensive. But yeah, I mean, they could have easily sold it for like $399 or even $449. So $349 I don't think is too insane. But then again, that's coming from the same guy who bought an Apple Pencil on eBay for like $140. So, hey, I don't mind paying a premium for Apple products. That's just me. In regards to how it looks, I'm not going to say it looks terrible. I mean, I would have liked something with a screen like the new Echo has. So perhaps I'll get that instead. But then again, that comes out way before the HomePod does. HomePod, bruh. I don't know. You know what, guys? We have the option. We do. I mean, if you want something cheaper from Amazon, then boom, you can go that route. But if you want something more expensive from Apple and something that's going to sound a lot better, then boom, you've got that option as well. So choose whichever you think is best. And well, don't forget, there's no reason why you can't get both. Just saying. So my thoughts on WWDC 2017, extremely solid keynote. Although I will say I was very let down by the Imac Pro, but I'll talk about that in a future video. Let's just say I'm not going to be buying an iMac anytime soon. And it hurts to say that. It's nothing like what I imagined. So guys, what did you think about WWDC 2017? Let me know. Seriously, please do. And please excuse my sarcasm again. I'm just not feeling myself today. I look like crap. Look at me. I look tired, don't I? Like, I am exhausted. Alright. Don't forget to post your questions. I appreciate your support. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.